In today's video, I'm going to show you how I put together this mini watercolor palette that's perfect for travel. Hi everybody, Daphne here, and welcome back to my channel. Before we get started, you can check out my artwork at the galleries and social media sites next to me on the side here. And don't forget to subscribe and click on that notification bell so that you can get notified whenever I upload a new video. And as always, there's free comics waiting for you at the link in the description box below, so don't forget to sign up. So the first thing you're going to need for this project is obviously the watercolor set you're going to break down into the smaller travel palette. In this case, I'm using a Winsor & Newton watercolor set. However, it's been a long time since I bought it, so I don't know any details other than it's just Winsor & Newton. It's a set that came with 24 colors, and each color comes in a removable pan that can be replaced when needed. In this case, obviously the colors, some colors are missing because they're in the original travel set that I made. But to start off, before I took out those colors, what I did was I created a swatch chart of all the colors, so that this way I would have a good idea as to which colors I was going to choose for the smaller set. The idea was to have a good variety of color while at the same time shrinking the set down to travel size. Of course, that still limits the amount of colors that you're going to use, but that's why the chart's handy, because then it's like you get an idea as to which colors you think you're going to use the most, which you're going to need, which you can kind of put aside. However you want this travel set to be, because the whole point is that you don't want to carry, or at least I don't want to carry this entire set when I really need something smaller that's more portable. So the other supplies that you're going to need for this project is some kind of small tin, something like this. I bought a set of 3 of these on Amazon for like $5 and something. They seem to be pretty easy to find. You don't necessarily need to use a tin like this. I've seen people use pencil cases, plastic cases. I mean, whatever container that you're gonna feel comfortable with carrying around with you. I prefer this little tin case. I thought it was more, I don't know, like attractive or whatnot, and the size is pretty good, so I'm going with the tin case. The next thing you're going to need also is double-sided tape, a sheet of watercolor paper, and a pen to write the names of your swatches, a pencil to trace the lid to make your chart, and a paintbrush. This one is the one where the water goes inside the brush itself, because you're going to need this to make your color chart. So what we're going to do, we're going to take the tin, I'm going to put it upside down so that we're going to trace the outside of the tin. So it's going to look like that. And then the next step is we're going to cut this out with our scissors. And there we have the beginning of our chart. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be, I guess, cut small enough so that you can place it in the lid. And if you're not the type to permanently keep it there, you can take it out easily. So there we go. As you can see from the set I made already, the tin holds 12 colors, so our chart is going to reflect 12 colors. What we're going to do is we're going to take the colors we have left, and I'm going to start naming them on the watercolor paper first. With the Winsor & Newton colors, their names are on the pans themselves. So I'm just going to copy each name onto the sheet. So what I just did is I popped out the remaining pans from the tray, and I'm just going to copy the names because from the original chart because they still correspond with them. So I'm just going to copy from here instead of trying to read that tiny lettering again. But either way, it works. So I want to make sure I have 4 names across with space for the swatches. So here's the chart with the names. Ignore any misspellings. But this is going to be the base of your chart. And now for the nitty gritty. So we're going to put the chart aside for now. We're going to start taking the pans and putting them into the tin. So using the first one that I did as reference, we're just going to copy the layout that we have here, but just with the colors we have in the tray still. To make sure everything sets up correctly, I'm going to transfer the pans to the tray before I tape them in. So this is how the palette's going to look once the colors are in. So now I'm going to take them one at a time, take my double-sided tape, put it on the back, and I'm going to put them back into place and just press them in so that they stick to the bottom of the tin. And there you have it. So now all the pans, they're not going to shift or tip. And the good thing about using this double-sided tape is that you should be able to pop out the pan and replace the color that you need. Even though it's double-sided tape, it's not that sticky. It's not a permanent stick in the tin. Now that we have our palette put together, now we're going to finish putting together our chart. I'm going to take some water and I'm just going to put a drop in every pan to activate the color. I'm going to take my scrap paper, what's left over the watercolor paper, and a paper towel. I am going to start swatching our chart. Just make sure you're lining up the right color with the right name. And here is our swatch chart. So we're just going to let that dry before we close it, because or else we're just going to end up making a mess. So now that the chart is dry, now we're going to do something that's completely optional, and that is to tape the chart to the tin. Now I prefer to do that because I'm going to be using something else separate as a palette, but you can also keep the chart loose so that you can also use this as a palette to mix your colors. We're going to take our double stick tape again, and I'm just going to put one at the top and one at the bottom here. And here is our finished travel palette. So I hope you enjoyed my video on how to make your own portable watercolor palettes. So even though the set that I started off with had 24 colors, and I needed to make two separate sets to make everything fit, as you can see, even with 2 sets, it's still considerably smaller than leaving everything in its main tray. The way I look at it, the more portable art supplies are, the more likely I am to use it. I would rather take apart large sets and make mini sets out of them than to have the large set just sitting in a drawer not being used because I just don't want to deal with the size of whatever it is I'm trying to use, when I can just have these two little things that I could just grab and go and do artwork with. And in the end, that's the most important thing. Now, considering that this set is going to be my main set, now the trick is finding out whether the colors I chose for my main set is enough to actually create a piece with it. So for my next video, I'm going to be testing this particular set on an actual piece to see whether I made the right color choices. So if that's what you want to see, make sure that you're subscribed so that you get notified when that test painting video comes out, because I am definitely going to be doing that. So until then, thanks a lot for following me on this DIY project, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye!